Police clarify kidnapping suspect rumours. PNG signs up to China's Belt Road Initiative implementation and partnership for civic education.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Sunday's news. Suspects believed to be involved in the kidnapping of women and girls in the city have been caught by police. They were caught at Vision City and brought to the Boroko police station for questioning. This morning, members of the public gathered at the station demanding more information from suspected kidnappers. Police say the suspects will be questioned and further investigations will be conducted regarding this issue.
Boroko police station in the nation's capital was in chaos this morning as the public gathered at the police station demanding more information about the suspected kidnappers. According to witnesses, the kidnappers were caught at Vicent City after a failed kidnapping attempt on 2 boys. The suspects were brought to the police station in a white Toyota Land Cruiser, the vehicle they were using. Angry relatives and families of the victims, upon hearing the news, gathered at the police station demanding the police to release the suspects so that they can deal with them. They took upon themselves to smash the windscreen of the vehicle the suspects were using. They told MTV News that they want the government to address this issue as it is a threat to their children's freedom of movement.
It is indeed shocking in nature. Shocking in nature simply means that what has transpired this morning, now over the weeks to come, and give him big Prime
Minister, you have to address this issue. NCDC governor, all get a member. Me mama and me feeling pain here. What if I'm come up and picking in it from me?
Attempts by police to disperse the crowds were unsuccessful as more people joined to demand to see the suspects.
No consent. School. Tomorrow, go say 1 week, 2 weeks until police or government kiss them over China.
Fear, but go back to school on Monday. This is something working now. I'm not against him constitution of Papua New Guinea. It is against him humanity. Only looking for a light blow man and money starting. They can just cut and do everything. Me playing a come up with some playground blow and come now working scientific research upon us. No.
Police efforts in preventing the angry crowds to access the suspects resulted in the looting of shops next to the station. According to police, the suspects will be questioned and more investigation will be conducted on the kidnapping issue in the city. Parents and relatives of the victims were brought in for questioning to set a face for the investigation process. The police also call on to relatives of kidnapping victims in the city to come to the police station to give their side of the story. Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
Following what had taken place early this morning at the Boroko police station, the office of the NCD Metropolitan Superintendent held a media conference to put yet again another false rumour spreading on social media of an alleged kidnap to rest. NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Pero Drano clarified that what had taken place had nothing to do with any abduction or kidnapping and that rumours and speculations on social media regarding the commotion this morning were false.
It was an incident that went sideways from the start, which had hundreds of Port Moresby residents flocking to the Boroko police station this morning. The NCD police boss made it clear to media today that the alleged kidnapping stories and speculations on social media were all false. This also included alleged stories of an escape full of organs found with a suspected vehicle. What had taken place was that police were working to establish whether the woman was kidnapped by the man following a night out at a Port Moresby club. The man maintained that the woman agreed to go with him while the woman's husband alleges that she was kidnapped. The woman's husband caught them at the Vision City shopping mall, allegedly assaulted both of them and took them both to the police station.
Crime will always continue, but for this incident, yes, I could say no, whatever you heard is false. So please be on your usual vigilance and same approach to the way you do, like a daily normal things you do. This incident, what you have heard, is misleading. The fact is what I've stated earlier.
What had taken place then on location was misinterpreted by the onlooking public and later spread like wildfire on social media as alleged kidnappers caught and held. With the hoax spreading on social media causing so much fear and anxiety among NCD residents, police are urging the public to refrain from posting alleged NCD kidnapping incidents on social media, but rather report directly to the police station for officers to deal with the cases accordingly and urgently.
We don't investigate reports on social media. Never, will never. Those two incidents I can recall easily, we investigate them because they were reported to the police station and we can sustain that allegation. And we'll work on it. So, all reports that have been reported to police station are being investigated.
Today's occurrence is now a matter for the law and is currently being investigated by police to establish whether this was a case of kidnapping or if she consented to go with him. Police are concerned about the allegations, while at the same time are equally concerned about scammers and scaremongers who appear to be maliciously and mysteriously posting unconfirmed reports on social media. Drano adds that the social media post will now be individually investigated, and if found to be false, then those persons responsible will be prosecuted under PNG cybercrimes law. Anet Kora, National MTV News.
And a youth was allegedly shot by police this morning at Bougainville, in the nation's capital. He was part of the angry crowd that gathered at the police station to demand information regarding the suspected kidnappers. In an attempt to stop the angry crowd, police fired warning shots into the crowd. It was believed that the boy was hit by a pellet from a gunshot fired by police. He was rushed by bystanders to Port Moresby General Hospital. To other news now, Papua New Guinea has signed up to China's Belt and Road Cooperation and Implementation Plan at the end of the 2019 Belt and Road Forum in Beijing. PNG has also agreed to have the Bank of China open a branch in Port Moresby as part of ongoing bilateral relations.
The Prime Minister was greeted by President Xi Jinping as both countries met for bilateral talks outside the Belt and Road Forum. However, central to the discussions was Papua New Guinea's inclusion in the Belt and Road Initiative, the multi-billion-dollar program that stretches from China into Europe and the Pacific. For Papua New Guinea, the delegation led by the Prime Minister cemented PNG's commitment to the program.
China has become one of our strongest and most important trading partners, where we are able to export our resources of the market that is available to us.
60 countries have signed up to the Belt and Road Initiative. Smaller countries seeking big development money from China have readily signed up. But Western powers led by the US have warned against what it views as China's debt trap. These concerns were amplified during APEC last year when US Vice President Mike Pence issued strong warnings. In Beijing, however, PNG favored China's foreign policy. The PM witnessed the signing of a Belt and Road Implementation Plan as well as an MOU for the establishment of a Bank of China branch in Port Moresby.
In China, we have a friend that is doing it. We have built a strong relationship with China over the last 4 decades.
It's expected Australia will express its concerns over the move through various channels. Scott Whitey, National MTV News.
You're with National MTV News this Sunday. We'll have more when we return. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Transparency International PNG is working closely with government agencies and education institutions to ensure that people know their rights and responsibilities as citizens. TIPNG and the National Department of Education signed a Memorandum of Understanding to drive forward the significant amount of work TIPNG has put into developing the civic education curriculum. The MOU reaffirms the partnership with the view of strengthening good citizenship in the country.
Transparency International PNG signed a renewed Memorandum of Understanding on Friday with the National Department of Education to progress the production and implementation of civic education resources they have been developing together since 2014. The partnership aims to educate a generation of responsible and active citizens.
Transparency is an educator, if you like. Part of what we're trying to do there the whole time is to educate citizens on how things should be done if we follow reasonable rules of behaviour. And to know that it's here, where it's from, and what's been involved, and to know that this is our people coming together, putting materials together to guide our people into the future.
TIPNG realizes that there are not enough suitable materials in schools across the country that teaches human rights, democracy, how the government works, and responsibility of citizens. In 2015, TIPNG and the National Department of Education began this partnership to collaborate and bring civic education to schools right across the country.
It was shifted most of our focus to the knowledge aspect of it, the skills training aspects of it. We felt that the area that we were missing and were not doing enough was in the values and ethics, the civic component of our person is what we felt that we must give more attention. So, Chairman, if you would have read and would be aware of, with the programs that we have now worked together, it has helped us and refocus what we wanted to do in the curriculum.
TIPNG has worked to ensure that the school-based civic education curriculum is aligned with the citizen and Christian values education framework. The curriculum will go to the Board of Studies next month for endorsement into the national curriculum.
In 2009, TIPNG, with the endorsement of the National Department of Education, developed civic education teacher resource materials and distributed kits to 247 schools around the country.
Lilian Sopera Kenea, National EMTV News.
The U.S. government, in partnership with the Papua New Guinea Center for Locally Managed Areas, or PNG CLMA, celebrated the successful completion of the project promoting inclusive mangrove management. This was an 18-month program with an aim to scale up women's participation in mangrove management. The key partners to this project were women from Pari and Kairuku district.
The U.S. government, through the Agency for International Development and partner organization PNG Center for Locally Managed Areas, celebrated the completion of the Scaling Up Women's Participation in Mangrove Management project. The event brought together government agencies, stakeholders, and partner communities who have supported the project in its 1.5 years of implementation.
This effort will enable communities to better adapt to the effects of climate change, provide economic benefits, and enable marine ecosystems to flourish. Central to this effort was the Papua New Guinea Center for Locally Managed Areas, which partnered with the University of Papua New Guinea to conduct mangrove biological baseline surveys that serve to guide plans for protected areas.
U.S. aid assisted the communities in developing locally managed area plans, which were endorsed by the village leaders.
Bigger one in front of my house. My eldest son also learned the skills, including other men and women. We transplanted the seedlings and started a mangrove garden near the village. We continue to look after our mangrove garden because we saw that fish, crab, and inner shells were making the new mangrove garden their home.
The project has also helped boost the income of mud crab sellers from the communities.
Mud crab vendor from Kairuku district. For the past 20 years, the story goes, Elizabeth has been catching mud crabs from the mangroves in her community. Unfortunately, some of the mangroves in her community have become degraded due to extreme weather and over-harvesting, and they were starting to threaten her main livelihood. Thanks to our collaboration, I hear that Elizabeth, along with others in her community, are now assured of a steady income for their businesses for years to come.
With USAID support, PNG's Center for Locally Managed Areas linked crab sellers with a seafood export company. Elizabeth Vagi, a participant of the project, said this project has changed her life.
Could earn about less than 50 downwards. But now, when we collect, since PNG Selemi has come into our area, they found a marketplace there.
The project has trained over 200 community members on mangrove ecology, nursery management, and resource mapping. Lilian Superakenea, National EMTV News.
Paradise Private Hospital is encouraging malaria patients to always complete their prescribed medication to prevent the infection from getting worse. PPH Director of Medical Services, Dr. Polapoi Chalau, revealed malaria is a common disease in the country and one of the leading causes of mortality and morbidity death. Dr. Chalau said statistics from the hospital revealed in the last few years the most common types of infections recorded by the hospital's outpatients are flu, malaria and diarrhea. For malaria alone, there were 295 cases recorded in January this year and 373 cases in February. Malaria is transmitted to humans through the bite of the Anopheles mosquito. The parasite cycle takes up to 2 weeks to develop before the patients can show symptoms of malaria. The mosquito breeding times are between 5 to 7 p.m., 10 to 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. Moving on, Lds Charities is the humanitarian arm of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. With the recent partnership with Pacific Assist to donate furniture to schools in PNG, more than 30 schools have benefited. Lds Charities desires to help communities and invites individuals to be a part of benefiting from the charity.
To talk a little bit about the
LDS Charities, the humanitarian arm of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, recently partnered with a not-for-profit organization known as Pacific Assist. Through this partnership, 10 20-foot containers of high-quality school furniture were provided and donated to PNG schools.
All of our humanitarian efforts are based on our commitment to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ by caring for those in greatest need, inspiring self-reliance and promoting service.
In 1981, the church received its legal status in PNG and to date has about 30 members, 80 meeting houses and hundreds of full-time current and former missionaries, both old and young. Through their humanitarian arm in 2016, they partnered with the World Health Organization measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines. They continually do training in gardening, nutrition, sanitation, emergency response with the LDS volunteers.
To response, there are 155 projects through 50 countries throughout the world. Food security, 311,000 or more assisted in 16 countries. Scholarships given. Vision, nearly 310,000 people were helped in 35 different countries. Maternal and newborn care, 53,800 trained caregivers in 39 different countries. Clean water and sanitation, 650,000 or so people were aided through 28 different countries.
LDS Charities continues to encourage individuals and communities to be a part of their charity.
Able and willing to work with anyone, but we require that in order to receive these partnership fundings, we require the community to provide some sort of support so that we can also get these funds, and then also shows a commitment by the community that are receiving these projects.
Lilian Superakenea, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Coming up next is our closer look story on the Bougainville Referendum. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The people of the autonomous region of Bougainville will decide their future in a referendum to be conducted in October this year. The road to referendum comes years following the civil war and ongoing negotiations for a peaceful outcome. The PNG media was also invited recently to the island to get a better understanding on issues surrounding conflict and the sensitivity in reporting. As the countdown to October begins, there are also challenges that confront the people, the leaders, and Papua New Guinea as a whole. In this week's A Closer Look, Stanley Ovid Jr., who attended the media workshop, looks at the Bougainville Referendum.
"20 years after the end of the Bougainville conflict, a peace process continues behind the scenes. For the people, the search for reconciliation and lasting peace continues as the autonomous region prepares for a referendum on October 12. The referendum is when the people will be given the option to vote for greater autonomy or independence and chart a new beginning for the region. The road to referendum in 2019 has not been easy. The people are still dealing with scars of the conflict. A civil war that began in 1988 when Francis Orna raised an armed militia, the Bougainville Revolution Army, and fought against the PNG Defense Force. Lives were lost on both sides, caught up in the middle of the conflict were the people. Records indicate that between 15,000 and 20,000 people died during and also after the conflict. The BRA fought to take control of the Panguna mine, one of the biggest copper mines in the world at its time of operation. The sentiments felt then were that the mine was generating enormous wealth, which was not equally shared for the benefit of Bougainville.
The man PNG blamed for starting the struggle appeared relaxed as he spoke in this first local television pictures captured at his Panguna village.
The longing to end the 10-year conflict began with a ceasefire in 1990. This was followed by peace talks, culminating in the Bougainville Peace Agreement of 1998. A year after the Sandline affair. In 2005, an Act of Parliament paved way for the establishment of the Autonomous Bougainville Government, or the ABG. There are ongoing engagements between leaders, past and present, for weapons disposal and reconciliation. Papua New Guinea and other stakeholders, including the United Nations, are working behind the scenes to ensure the countdown to the October referendum is smooth. One office set up recently to carry out strategic activities on the referendum is the Bougainville Referendum Commission, an independent body whose function is self-determining in consultation with the PNG government and the autonomous government of Bougainville. It is headed by Betty Ahen, a former Prime Minister of Ireland appointed by both governments. The national government has committed 30 million kina and 2 million kina from the ABG to carry out its activities.
The BRC is currently engaged in enrollment and broadly in preparations for a start of polling on October 12th. The BRC is committed to delivering the referendum starting October 12th. Having said that, the BRC is facing several challenges that are currently impeding its work, and it's degrading its capability in delivering on its mandate. One of these is funding.
Priority on the BRC list is to raise awareness on the referendum roll, to get eligible voters registered before the issue of reached in August, and polling to commence on October 12.
We are, as I said, conducting phase 1 of enrollment, which is largely a desk-based exercise comparing the electoral rolls from the 2015 ABG general elections against community government records. This will culminate in a data entry exercise, which will generate the working roll to be used in phase 2 enrollment. Phase 2 is the active face-to-face enrollment. Thereafter, after phase 2, there will be a intensive exhibition and challenges period in which the provisional role, will be displayed throughout Bougainville for people to check that they are enrolled.
ABG President John Momis is also optimistic about the future of Bougainville and is urging both the ABG and the national government to assist the work of the Bougainville Referendum Commission.
The outcome will have to be an outcome that Papua New Guinea must like, now Bougainville must like him. So the two governments, my message to the rest of Papua New Guinea is that we must have peace, and referendum is not going to cause trouble, as somebody said about Momis. The referendum and Momis we can't bring him trouble. No, referendum is an answer to a trouble.
For the first time, the hardline Mekamui faction, a stronghold of the BRA, is coming to the negotiating table. In a recent meeting, former combatants gave their assurance that they will be part of the peace process.
So I'm all on position to come now. We'll kidnapping fight now. You may come up with some fight man. You may peace loving people here. Bukan bidens. So now, inokat ya. Arms inokat walk. Some fight and finish. Bukan bilang em peaceful island ya. Na em people em olo mamplom peace. Labing one brother pula. Na Papua New Guinea tu em country belum itu ya. Em olo brothers belum.
For the people, the events of the past are still a reminder of the tragedies, but their desires for lasting peace by peaceful means. Reconciliation aimed at bringing peace for Bougainvilleans and Papua New Guineans is planned for June 15th. But in the meantime, they want awareness on the referendum to reach a wider audience.
We know what film impact this awareness because we really need him. This awareness must take place inside the area. Prepare him all man, or can make him right decision long choose and tapa. Because this is something I'm very critical. I'm past time only been trying struggle go inside some independence outside law. But now since I'm go inside finish law, and very important also all man only must make him wise decision. This la two option where we stop and tap long.
People need to understand him how by me vote now this time. Suppose you know sabe you know vote good.
By me play it, he can stop good. Na look out him island blow me play. Blow me yet. Me looking more same. Suppose me play this la referendum. I mean independent, and by helping me play lo here lo Bougainville.
Despite delays in funding, the people themselves say they are ready to do what they can to ensure the referendum is carried out on October 12th. Whatever the outcome may be for the island where the sun rises, there is still more to be done in the transition period. And for the people, their desire for peace by peaceful means will always be at the back of their minds and implanted firmly in their resolve.
Here with National MTV News is Sunday. Trukai Sports is up next. We'll have the details after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Port Moresby Corporate Touch competition is in its second week of competition. This year also sees 8 new teams take part. The competition is scheduled to be played over the next 5 months before the finals.
Started in 1996, the National Capital District Corporate Touch Rugby competition has been in existence for more than 20 years. The corporate community continue to turn up each year as they field teams in the competitions, men's, women's and mixed divisions.
We have seniors 35 plus, masters 45 plus, And then we have open divisions, which are open men, open women, and open mix. And also the juniors. Juniors are below 16.
As the name states, it's all corporate and private companies that make up the teams. And with over 20 years of competitive competition, there are teams that have been with the competition through thick and thin and are the premier teams of the competition.
Parapella, Datafix, On-Track Tribes, BSP, ANZ, those are the existing clubs that have been with the CTPM for this long run.
But new teams are always getting involved in the competition, but they have to make their way up from the lower grades.
There's Spectrade, ABT Brumbies, and some others, EMTV as well. So yeah, we have 8 of them into this season, but they will be starting off in Pool B, and then if they perform better next season they go up to Pool A.
The competition for 2019 is just into its second week after a 4-week pre-season.
We started, the competition kicked off for the season 2019 4 weeks ago, 4 Sundays ago actually. So it was 2 pre-season Sundays and there was 1 before the Easter Sunday. So this is the second Sunday of the first round.
The competition has had a good turnout, with corporate companies, employees and interested players providing a good atmosphere. But the competition still has a long way to go, with more than 5 months of competitive touch rugby ahead.
To end this season in November, early November or late October, depending on the number of rounds we're having.
Freli Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
To boxing, and a fundraiser was held yesterday to raise funds for the pro boxing titles that are set to take place in June this year in Port Moresby. Professional Boxing Gym President Elwin Wafewa thanked the PNG Chinese community for their support.
The international fight between Papua New Guinea and Indonesia, which was deferred 3 times in the past due to financial difficulties, is finally set to take place in June this year. To support this international event, Chinese community in Port Moresby gathered at the fundraising dinner at the Golden Bowl restaurant, where individuals and business houses have made pledges to support PNG professional boxing with its tournament. Long-time supporter of PNG professional boxing in the country, the Golden Bowl restaurant has always supported pro boxing with its national and international bouts. Mei Chen from Golden Bowl restaurant says the support is part of their social obligation and giving back to the community.
We are here today to support the PNG Pro Boxing Association. We thank them for bringing, sports to the youth and giving them something to do. Sports is good for the health and benefits, as well as taking them off the streets. So this is our maybe 3rd or 4th time supporting the PNG Pro Boxing fundraising.
She says present at the fundraiser yesterday to support yet another international tournament for PNG professional boxing were local Chinese businesses and other corporate houses in Port Moresby that have always shown interest in supporting PNG professional boxing with its tournaments.
So the sponsors for today's fundraising event for the PNG Pro Boxing Tournament, which is going to be held in June. Today we've had a lot of Chinese sponsors: ZD Systems, LNZ, XYZ Construction, China Power, East Power, Moresby Inn, Number 1 Trophy House, which has been here in the country for a long time. So we have the new and the old Chinese business houses that have been supporting a lot of charitable organizations and fundraising.
President of PNG Professional Boxing, Elwin Wafewa, says it was very difficult finding sponsorship, but thanks to the Chinese community and other business houses, the event can finally take place in June, where Indonesian fighters will take on some of PNG's professional fighters.
We have been
postponed this event for so long now. We need to have this international event between Indonesia and PNG. Has been postponed 3 times. Now we have support from our Chinese community. They support us to make sure we must have the boxing activity going on in the country.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports will continue with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Turning to sport abroad now, Sevu Reece has put himself in the frame as an All Black World Cup bolter, but only 6 months ago his career was at a crossroad. Reece lost an Irish club contract after pleading guilty to a domestic violence charge, but after being thrown on a lifeline by the Crusaders, he scored 6 tries in 5 games, including 2 in the 36-10 win over the Lions.
Just 5 games into his Crusaders career, Sevu Reece has become a key weapon out wide.
Loves the contact, loves going through powerful and low.
Because Ben Smith is the only obvious and informed right-wing candidate for the World Cup, there could be an opportunity.
Oh, we talk about bolters for the World Cup. Is this guy putting his name into...
And there's precedent. Right-wingers Waisake Naholo and Nehemil Nascudder both debuted just months before going to the 2015 tournament.
How good.
Pretty special form, isn't it? And I could chuck in that speculation myself, but it's not for me to do that. He just needs to keep playing well.
Being part of the defending champion Crusaders certainly helps.
The structure we play here, like every sort of, you've got license to just, do whatever, and you need a rubbing shoulders alongside, some great men, and it makes it a lot more easier.
As well as grabbing a double, Reece popped up everywhere in their 36-10 win over the Lions.
And then over the top brings in 2 defenders.
His offload in the midfield set up Braden Enor's try. Scott Robertson's delighted with what Reece has achieved since joining the team, when other clubs wouldn't touch the Waikato Flyer.
It's a really good get for us. I'm just really proud of.
Phil Gould's departure from his head of football role at Penrith has failed to pay immediate dividends as the Panthers lost their 5th game of the season, 20-18, to the Rabbitohs.
A packed house in Penrith for an Anzac-themed tussle with the Rabbitohs saw Phil Gould in the stands and Ivan Cleary in the box. The former Warriors coach watched on as the Bunnies made a fast start. But his underperforming Panthers also crossed the line.
Katoa's kick is good! Katoa's kick is brilliant!
Cleary's cause not helped by 2 ruled-out tries, including one to his son Nathan.
Cleary's gone back for it. Penal's the call!
We have no try. When you're playing well, you got to win, and hopefully we can start doing that soon.
Frustrations boiled over into an all-in brawl following South's match-winning try.
Walker's off! Walker's pass to Gagai! Rabbitohs score! Well, it's erupted.
There were plenty of positives for Cleary's men, however. Fijian Hulk Viliami Kikau's incredible solo run getting the Panthers within a whisker of victories.
Guys didn't make men 120 kilos allowed to do that sort of stuff.
No. While Phil Gould isn't Cleary's problem anymore, he might have a captaincy issue after confusion over which player called Jimmy was captaining his side, Tamo or Maloney.
Oh, they sort of share that anyway, because Jimmy Tamo doesn't play the whole game, so maybe Jimmy forgot that Jimmy wasn't on. There's too many Jimmys in there, isn't there?
Also last night, the undermanned Bulldogs had too much mongrel for the Cowboys.
Harawira Naira bursting through.
Kiwi's second rower, Corey Harawira Naira, back to his bullocking best.
The line passing beautifully for Corey Harawira Naira to get his double.
The Dogs winning 24-12 to claim just their 2nd win of the season.
New Zealand's rich tradition of middle distance running is in safe hands. Theo Quakes claimed the under-20 1500 metre record just last week, while Sam Tanner broke Nick Willis' under-19 1500 metre record in January. Tanner is about to follow both runners to the US in a bid to accelerate his career.
Sam Tanner is one of New Zealand's most promising middle distance runners, but he's still a surfer at heart.
I hated track and until I was like maybe 15 or 16, just because I was like, I'm a beach boy and I just love the beach in the summertime. Why would I be running circles around a track?
But that mindset's changed. Running's become a lot more enjoyable for the national 1500 metre champion and has earned him a track and field scholarship to the University of Washington.
I love the little buzz it gives you, you know, the natural high, so to speak, when you're just running fast.
He certainly got a buzz when he beat his idol, two-time Olympic medalist Nick Willis in the Capital Classic's 800-metre race in January.
Suddenly I heard these little footsteps cutting behind me, and what do you know, Sam Tanner comes storming home in the last 50, so really excited to see Sam continue what will hopefully be the next great middle distance runner from New Zealand.
He's such a good dude. He picked me up on his shoulders, and that photo of me on his shoulders is like, he's got so much respect for the younger generation.
The 18-year-old's 800-metre personal best time is only 4 seconds off the Olympic qualifying mark. But he's playing the long game, eager to follow in Willis's footsteps.
I also love the tactics of the 1500, and to be honest, the goal is to be an Olympic medalist in the 1500, and if I can do that, then bucket list tick.
He'll need to shave 8 seconds off his 1500-metre time to meet the Olympic standard, a feat he's confident he can achieve once he enters the intensive college system in the US.
I've got a lot more left in me because I'm not training ridiculous amounts like some kids are.
Tanner confident he's getting on a wave that will take him to middle distance success.
And there in Strukai Sports, we'll have the weather details for the next 24 hours when we return.
Strukai Sports. Strukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Rain and showers expected in Port Moresby, Daru, Kerma, Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momasa region, rain and showers expected in Ley and Wau, cloudy weather in Madang, morning showers in Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, a shower or two expected in Lorengau, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka, and showers as well in Kavieng. And in the Highlands region, the major centres Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg can expect rain over the next 24 hours with early morning fog developing. There is a strong wind warning. Now, strong southeasterly winds of 25 to 34 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas and sea swells. All small craft and boats are advised to take the necessary precautions before and after going out to sea. A look at the forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of Madang to Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo, northern PNG Indonesian border, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and waters of New Island to East New Britain to Bougainville, sea 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, with waters of Finschhafen through Vitias and Dampier Strait to Siasi Island to Long Island to Madang, sea 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of West New Britain, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerma, Yule Island, Hood Point, Aroma Coast to Samurai Island, seas 2.5 to 3 meters. And I look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea, seas very rough to high seas with southeasterly winds at 25 to 34 knots, reaching 48 knots in some areas. Solomon Sea, seas moderate with southeasterly winds at 15 to 20 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas moderate to rough with southeasterly winds at 15 to 25 knots. And the Pacific Ocean, sea slight with southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that has been the news, sport and weather for today, Sunday the 28th of April 2019. On behalf of the EMTV News team, have a pleasant evening, a safe working week. Good night.